Welcome to Tea for Lunch, a weekly show powered by Arcade Studios.
Each week, we'll serve you the top stories we're following in social media, entertainment, celebrity, and tech in 15 minutes or less. You can catch the show live on Instagram on Thursdays at about 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, or on all podcast providers and YouTube on Fridays. We're your hosts this week, Manny
and Mikenna.
Yes. How's it going?
It's been a busy week. We've had photo shoots at the office. It's a short week because of the holiday.
It's a stat.
It's been a little chaotic, but in the best way.
Nice. Something really exciting happened this week for you.
Yes, I got to be the client this week. We have a really cool perk of working here, and I am launching my own podcast, and Arcade has so kindly built my brand identity for me. So it was really cool to experience the client side of that, and our designers and creative team are just so freaking talented that I am blown away by it. And it makes me so happy to talk about because I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's really cool. Here at Arcade, all of our team members are encouraged to pursue side projects or do side hustles. So if they want to start up a podcast or get into YouTube or even just do anything that's creative that's outside of their 9 to 5, we have a special resourcing fund to help support that. So in Mikenna's case, she did a whole brand identity with her creative team, and they slayed it.
They did.
Nice.
An absolute slay, as the Gen Z say.
I'm starting to use the word sliving because I heard it on this podcast a couple weeks ago, and I said it to my wife Colleen the other day, and she's like, "What did you just say?" I was like, "Sliving." She's like, "What? Sliving?"
I think it started a trend because I've been hearing sliving everywhere.
I almost said it in a client call, and I was like, "Oh, thank God I didn't." Can you imagine?
You're like, okay.
Yes. That's nice. That's exciting.
Yes, I'm excited, but busy week, even more busyness today. But.
Yes, today is a fun day because it's interview day for Arcademy Season 3. So every change of season, we have new interns come in. And today we have 10 new interns. We're looking for 2 social media interns. So it's going to be busyness because 10 of them are going to be coming in. And it's going to be fun because we're going to meet all these new students, and they're always so eager to come in and put their best foot forward. So it'll be good to have this new energy in the office today.
Yeah. And if you're watching by chance or listening,
we're waiting for you.
We're ready.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid.
No, we'll be nice.
Okay, let's dive in.
Okay, first story for today. First up, Meta has a new feature that allows you to connect directly with your followers. The feature is called Broadcast Channels powered by Messenger, and it allows you to connect with your followers at scale. The one too many messaging tools means that creators can broadcast updates, behind the scenes, and other text, photo, video, voice note, or polls used directly to followers. Followers can also react to content and participate in polls, but cannot message back. Mark Zuckerberg, aka The Zuck, announced that new features on Instagram via his own broadcast channel called the Meta channel. He noted that the feature will be coming to Facebook soon. He also announced that he'll be using channels to announce any new Meta updates first. This feature is currently being tested in the US before it rolls out.
As always, the US gets it first.
Yeah, why is that?
Bigger market. I think broadcast channels are going to be interesting from an agency perspective because I sense some clients already will want to use it. I really like the community building aspect that they're sort of presenting this as. You can reach directly a section of your audience and have that more personalized connection. I'm not sure how it's going to be too different from stories. It's the same features of stories, but in the messaging section, it'll be interesting to see. But
yeah, I don't know if because they can't write back, I don't really know if it's a dialogue or more of just to announce something. So one, because they can react, I feel like the emoji game got to be strong on there. So if you say something and whatever emoji you choose, it's gotta be extra important because you can't really say anything back. And then the other thing too, it's going to be a good practice for brands to use this. I think for creators it'll be really cool, especially with a big following. But for brands that decide to use this, I think it's going to be an exercise in learning when not to use it because it can easily get really annoying. So if I follow a brand and they're just broadcasting random stuff to me that I don't care about, I'm just going to be turned off and be like, can you stop, please?
Yeah, just mute.
Yeah.
That's the worst part is brands wanting to jump on everything right away, and then it's not super relevant, or it feels like they're just stretching themselves a little too far or something, and it actually has the opposite effect where then as a follower you're ew, ick, bye.
Yeah, and I actually am a fan of this. I know they're testing a lot on Instagram and Meta as a whole, but I think this can be really useful for, the use case that they had in their example when they launched it was like a band. I think it's really cool if there's a band that I'm following and they have a broadcast that's like, hey, new show alert in my city, I'm all over that.
Yeah.
So I think it's got potential. They're still testing it. But there's another update that Instagram is announcing this week.
It's the week of Instagram updates. Instagram and Facebook are launching Meta verified subscriptions to fight fake accounts, which we've been asking for forever. I think this will be especially important for larger creators. We reported on this a couple weeks ago when an engineer who works with Meta discovered an option for a paid verification within some of the code. Now they've officially announced that this paid verification is coming to the platforms. Once again, Zuckerberg took to Instagram to announce this new feature. To get Meta verified, you'll need to provide government ID, be 18 or older, and start paying, of course. So it's $14.99 a month US for iOS users and $11.99 a month US for web users. I'm not sure who's using Instagram on the web day to day because it ain't me, but if you do, you can save some cheddar there. You get a blue badge with it. You get extra impersonation protection, which pretty cool if you get fake accounted a lot. I don't know if that's a verb, but if you have a lot of people impersonating you, that could be a huge opportunity. And then another big one is direct access to customer support, which in retrospect, I thought initially that would be the biggest draw, but if you are fighting impersonation with like a verified badge, you probably don't need that access. I don't know. We'll see.
I feel like Meta is so annoying to get a hold of. So some people will probably pay for this just so they can have like a specific rep they can talk to.
Honestly, I think that'll be the thing for brands. It'll be interesting to see how like brands use this versus how creators use this.
Yeah.
Meta has also noted that no charges are going to be applied against accounts that are already verified.
Yeah. It's the era of paid subscriptions. Like, you gotta pay to be legit. Obviously, there's other features going on here, but for me, $14 a month, I'm also, like, I don't have that big of a following, so that's just, like, steep. Like, that's the price that you would pay for, like, Netflix or Crave. It's around that price point. So, to exist, and if you're big, you gotta pay up to stay up.
It'll be really interesting to see how this plays out. I personally wouldn't pay for it. I don't have a big enough following or post about things that important, I guess. So it'll be cool to watch and follow.
Yeah, and I feel like at some level, if you're big enough or you have a large enough following, like, you just have no choice. Like, you have to pay for this. Otherwise, like, one, you just don't get taken seriously, especially for brands too. Like, we talked about brands in the first story that we shared. Like, brands are almost going to have to pay for this, and it's a really easy path to having more revenue for Instagram because they know it's needed. And Twitter has done it. Obviously, it wasn't as smooth when they first launched it, so they went back to the drawing board to tweak it a little bit. And maybe Instagram's like, we got to do the same.
I wonder if they have like something in place for those, like the unofficial accounts paying for verification, but it wasn't actually the account. Like, we saw a lot of fallout with that with Twitter. So hopefully Meta has that. I think the government ID piece will help mitigate that, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, cool. And then our last story is more companies are diving into the AI space. Later, our friends just announced that they are now offering an AI caption writer. The new Instagram caption writer is Later's latest feature and for paid plan users. In a video they teased online, it shows captions generated from a simple one-line prompt. Later notes that AI writer will produce captions and inspirational ideas for your next Instagram post in less than 10 seconds.
I think maybe I have an unpopular opinion on this, but I love, as someone working in social media every single day, a starting point for some of these things. I feel like creatively you can get like a little burnt out or like run down with ideas when it's what you're doing all the time. So I like using AI writers as like a starting off point and then being able to tailor it to that brand's voice and stuff. What I think is really cool about the later one is the first one that I've personally seen that's social media specific.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see how this continues to evolve this year. I think 2023 is the year of AI. We've talked about it a few times, so it'll be interesting. But for now, I still feel safe in my job in social media.
Yeah, I feel like that's the biggest initial like gut reaction, especially for copywriters. And like AI, I feel like it's picked up a lot of steam in the last couple of months. Some people have been on this maybe for like the last year even, but and for some people it's really polarizing, you know, like you know, the idea of like a robot taking over jobs is a huge topic of discussion around AI right now. But this to me is a really good example of AI really benefiting people, because I know there, for a lot of people who are active on social media, posting an Instagram photo or video comes really easy and natural, but they get stumped when they have to write a caption. It's just not natural.
Yeah.
And with a tool like this, I think it's really awesome because it gives you a starting point. I don't know if it's ever going to get to a point where like it's refined enough to just like not to turn your brain off and like give it a prompt and just post it. So I think a lot of skills around the editorial side will be needing to be harnessed and sharpened, but it's a really good starting point for those creators, brands, you know, social media managers to not feel stumped or feel discouraged by having to like spend more time writing a copy caption versus the 10 seconds that I would write for an AI. So
I just had a thought.
Okay, let's hear your thought.
One singular thought. I wonder if brands, or if there'll be like an AI that you can build internally. Like, I think that would be my fear of it replacing a job, is if you could build it within your company to speak in your brand voice and to know your product. I think that's when it might get scary, but I wonder when we'll start seeing sort of like AI as a software service internally.
Well, what's interesting is with this feature, I was reading the article, they said that the AI actually will pick up on your brand voice from previous posts. So if you use it, it gets smarter.
It learns.
Yes.
They know.
But I feel that. And yeah, like for us in the agency too, like we're diving into using it a little bit. I think it's really helpful for us. I don't think, like you said, it will ever get to a point where like we're sitting beside a robot and they're just like doing the job. But yeah.
Next week on Tea for Lunch, robots will host it.
Yeah, special guest, AI Arcade AI. That'll be the host. Both of them maybe, that'll be interesting.
On that note, now that we've wet your palate, go eat something more substantial.
Have a good day, y'all.